That'll do it for Today in Florida at 8. I'm Rebecca Vargas.
And I'm Christine Cruz. More news and weather in just 2 minutes on Today in Florida at 9, and we hope to see you then.
Now on 7 News.
Define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, as
define it for me. Come on, let's go. Define
Senator
it.
McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging him?
President Trump clashing with critics, offering some strong statements after the violent protest in Virginia. This morning, his comments causing controversy. Attorney General Jeff Sessions set to make a South Florida stop, looking to tackle the topic of sanctuary cities.
South Florida, the tropics are getting active. We're watching several areas. However, 2 in the middle of the Atlantic are worth watching. The complete forecast is coming up.
A scare on a South Florida campus. A woman attacked and robbed while walking at the University of Miami.
Crocodiles in South Florida, and it is hatching season. We'll take you along with the researchers.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm Christine Cruz.
And I'm Diana Diaz. Today in Florida at 9 starts now.
This is 7 News. Today in Florida.
An active morning in the Atlantic. We're keeping an eye on several areas of interest.
And here at home, check it out. A live look outside our North Bay Village studios. It's Wednesday morning, everyone. It is beautiful outside. Good morning, South Florida.
Let's get started with a check of the weather. And meteorologist Vivian Gonzalez live in the Flex. Viv? Hi there, ladies. In South Florida, that sunshine out there will trigger some afternoon storms, and the rain chances will be higher as we round up the week. Right now, luckily, it is mostly dry in Broward, Miami-Dade, and the majority of the Keys, but this is where we've been finding some spotty activity. And right now, between Big Pine Key and Summerland Key, we have some moderate rain in Boca Chica. Meanwhile, today in the tropics, we have Gert, a powerful Category 1 hurricane, 90-mile-per-hour winds, and this one's expected to remain over the open waters, possibly falling apart over the weekend. And as far as the rest of the tropics, well, definitely heating up. We have an area a couple hundred miles west of the Cape Verde Islands and another one 900 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Hurricane Center giving both these areas a medium chance, 40% in developing through the next 5 days in these locations highlighted in orange. Now, the one behind those two, well, it also has a medium chance to form as it moves over the eastern tropical Atlantic. I'll be back with your complete forecast in a couple of minutes.
And now,
It takes a little while to get the facts. You still don't know the facts.
tough answers to tough questions.
So I don't want to go quickly and just make a statement for the sake of making a political statement. I want to know the facts. You had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent.
The president clashing with critics over his response to the violence in Virginia.
President Donald Trump firing back against those criticizing his initial comments on the situation in Charlottesville.
But what he had to say this time drawing even more outrage. And 7's Katrina Bush is live in the Plex with more on the presidential pushback. Katrina?
Well, the president has some backing up his comments and others outraged by them, including a growing list of executives leaving the president's Manufacturing Jobs Council. Well, these are comments he has now doubled down on. President Donald Trump started out talking infrastructure in the lobby of Trump Tower.
We are literally like a third world country. Our infrastructure will again be the best, and we will restore the pride in our communities, our nation.
But when he opened it up to questions from reporters, it got heated.
Define alt-right to me. You define it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying,
define it for me. Come on, let's go. Define
Senator
it.
McCain defined them as the same group.
Okay, what about the alt-left that came charging him? Excuse me. What about the alt-left that came charging at the, as you say, the alt-right?
He says race relations have improved and doubled down on his initial response to the deadly violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, Saturday.
Making the statement when I made it was excellent.
Some taking issue with that statement, saying it didn't go far enough in repudiating white nationalists who marched through the streets.
I didn't know David Duke was there. I wanted to see the facts. And the facts, as they started coming out, were very well stated. In fact, everybody said his statement was beautiful. If he would have made it sooner, that would have been good.
Many point to chief strategist Steve Bannon as the link between the president and the extreme right.
I like Mr. Bannon. He's a friend of mine. He's a good man. He is not a racist, I can tell you that. He's a good person. He actually gets a very unfair press in that regard. But we'll see what happens.
As for that rally, 2 people injured Saturday have filed suit against the 20-year-old driver charged with murder and the event organizers for $3 million. The president says he hasn't spoken to Heather Heyer's family. The woman killed, police say, when the driver rammed into a crowd. The president said blame for Saturday's violence had to be shared.
You had a group on the other side that came charging in without a permit, and they were very, very violent.
He also answered questions about Confederate symbols being taken down in several cities around the country.
Jews will not replace us!
And defended the crowds who carried torches and chanted through Charlottesville Friday night.
I think there's blame on both sides. There were people in that rally, and I looked the night before. If you look, there were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day it looked like they had some rough, bad people, neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest, and very legally protest, because, you know, I don't know if you know, they had a permit.
So a memorial service is set for today in Charlottesville to honor Heyer. You're looking live inside the Paramount Theater where that service will be held. You see that message there they have on the screen with a heart and Heather's name. Again, that 32-year-old woman who was killed on Saturday. Attendees have been asked to wear purple, her favorite color. Live in the Plex, Katrina Bush, today in Florida.
And stay with 7 and WSVN.com, as well as all our mobile platforms for the latest after the attack in Virginia.
9:06 is now the time, and a member of the president's cabinet making a South Florida stop later today. Attorney General Jeff Sessions visiting to speak out against sanctuary cities. 7's Lorena Estrada at Port Miami with details.
Good morning. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is expected to be here by 3 o'clock this afternoon to highlight Miami-Dade County's cooperation with federal authorities on immigration enforcement. And ahead of his arrival, Miami-Dade County Mayor Carlos Jimenez released a statement about the president's comments on Charlottesville yesterday. Miami-Dade County Mayor Carlos Jimenez reacting to President Trump's comments about Charlottesville yesterday. It reads in part, "I urge President Trump to unequivocally condemn white supremacists and their actions which serve to only divide and instill fear among Americans rather than promote love and understanding." He expressed his disappointment hours prior to Attorney General Jeff Sessions' visit to South Florida.
The Attorney General chose to visit Miami-Dade County to highlight the cooperation that our county government has with our federal partners.
He's expected to praise Miami-Dade County for cooperating with the Trump administration's demand that local jails extend detentions of people suspected of immigration violations. His visit to Miami 2 days after California's Attorney General sued the Justice Department over the administration's plans to cut off millions of dollars in federal funding unless they begin cooperating with federal immigration agents.
It is hard to believe that now that the federal government would try to jeopardize those crime-fighting funds simply because it wishes to pressure local governments to do their bidding on federal immigration law.
The funds in question are called burn jag grants, and the DOJ said last month jurisdictions will lose them unless they reverse course and cooperate with federal immigration authorities. Earlier this year, Miami-Dade reversed its sanctuary policy that was put in place in 2013 under the Obama administration.
We treat all prisoners here in Miami-Dade County the same way. We also will honor detainment requests from ICE as long as there's a probable cause.
So again, Attorney General Jeff Sessions will be here by 3 o'clock this afternoon, and authorities are anticipating a large group of protesters. Reporting from Port Miami, Lorena Estrada, today in Florida.
And now at 9, police investigating a crime on campus at the University of Miami.
A South Florida woman attacked and robbed. 7's Omar Lewis has a story from Coral Gables.
Investigators say that woman was grabbed from behind, her purse snatched by at least 2 suspects. Shortly after that incident, police believe they caught the suspects involved. But this morning, whoever's responsible is still on the run. As fall move-in gets underway at the University of Miami, welcoming parents and students to the new year, some unwelcomed news Tuesday night as police say a woman became the victim of a violent robbery right on campus.
Two individuals, we believe, one individual got out and approached a woman from behind and put her in a chokehold and remove some property from her person.
Coral Gables police say the woman between the ages of 30 and 45 was attacked behind the Watts Coast Center near Dower Drive and Ponce de Leon Boulevard. Investigators believe it was two people who worked together, snatching the victim's phone and rings, then both took off.
The incident occurred on UN campus. We know from the video surveillance that the vehicles and the subject left the campus.
Detectives believe the robbers were wearing black sweatpants and gray hoodies, seen leaving campus in a black Nissan with tinted windows.
Alarming, and myself, I run here early morning. I'm out 4:30 in the morning running down this same path, and so I'm going to keep my eyes very peeled.
Officers later stopping a vehicle that fit that same description and then made two arrests. However, those individuals were detained for unrelated charges.
We identified or ruled out these two individuals as part of that robbery. However, there are other incidents that were involved in the stop. That's going to lead probably to their arrest on subsequent.
As parents and students walk into a new year and a new concern, police doing their best to calm any fears.
Campus is safe. We are constantly watching the perimeters along with the University of Miami police. We have not seen that car come up. We're using our surveillance systems throughout the city and other cities to try and find out where this vehicle that we're looking for went to.
And at this point, Coral Gables police say that victim is not a student here at the University of Miami, but they still want whoever is responsible caught and off the streets. If you have any information that could help out here, pick up the phone and dial Crime Stoppers in Miami-Dade County. That number 305-471-TIPS. For now, reporting in Coral Gables on the University of Miami campus, Omar Lewis, Today in Florida.
9/11 is now the time, and a woman's purse suddenly snatched outside a South Florida store. Surveillance video captured her putting groceries in her trunk at a Cooper City Walmart when a man pulls up behind her last month. He jumped out, grabbed her purse. She refuses to let go. Police say the thief then kicked her to the ground and took off. About an hour later, officers say that same man was spotted at another Walmart in Lauderdale Lakes trying to use one of the victim's credit cards. If you recognize him, the number to call is 954-493-TIPS. And now on just one station, a pair of South Florida officers on the road to recovery after being hurt on the job.
The pair injured when police say a man, a former Miami Dolphins defensive player, started fighting back as they were trying to take him into custody. Both of those officers had to be transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital after the alarming attack.
7's Andrew Scheinthal is live in downtown Miami where the attack happened. Andrew?
Good morning. You know, this really was chaos in the courtroom. It all happened in the building just behind me. And that man, he is a former Miami Dolphins player, and he will soon again be in front of another judge.
Some type of scuffle where the police or bailiffs or officers, two of them got involved.
Just one station there as two injured officers were released from the hospital after a courtroom confrontation. Officers say former Dolphin Dimitri Patterson was behind the assault. Patterson was arrested for battery on a police officer Tuesday afternoon. Investigators say the 34-year-old went before a judge in downtown Miami and was held in contempt of court during the hearing. But police say as the officers were called in to make the arrest, Patterson took down two Miami officers, tackling one of the women as he tried to run out of the room.
For whatever the reason, and the poor person was resisting.
Both taken to Jackson Memorial, one of the officers hurting her wrist, the other hitting her head during the ordeal. Patterson arriving at jail hours later. He played on the Dolphins secondary from 2012 to 2013. The retired cornerback spending the night behind bars before taking his defense to court. He's looking at more time in a cell if convicted. And Patterson will be in front of a judge again. That could happen as early as today, but we are told by court officials that there is a chance that his bond hearing could be pushed back. Live in downtown Miami, Andrew Scheinthal, Today in Florida.
And we're following some breaking news right now concerning the University of Florida and a controversial speaker there.
Katrina Bush is live in the Satellite Center with more. Katrina?
Well, this was a community that was bracing for a rally by white supremacist leader Richard Spencer. And now we do know that the University of Florida has denied a request by a group headed by Spencer to rent space at the campus for an event that was coming up in September. The UF president, W. Kent Fox, said in a statement that the decision was made after assessing risks to the campus, community, and law enforcement following the weekend violence in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, Spencer is the head of the National Policy Institute. He had contacted the university for plans to rent the space on the campus in Gainesville, Florida next month. Now, Fox has said that UF is dedicated to free speech and public discourse, but the First Amendment doesn't require risk of imminent violence to students. So once again, the University of Florida has denied that request by Richard Spencer's group to rent space on the campus. That's the latest live from the Satellite Center. Katrina Bush, Today in Florida.
And next at 9 on Today in Florida, Disney refining what it means to be a princess. The company launching a new campaign aimed at empowering young girls. It's the morning trend.
And here's a live look outside our Channel 7 studios to show you the beautiful picture. We have sunshine and some passing clouds. The complete forecast is coming up next.
And the long-awaited solar eclipse quickly approaching, and it could have an effect on your pets. We'll tell you what you can expect as you keep your eye on the eclipse.
For the latest news, weather, and sports, tap the 7 News app. It's free. Just search WSVN in your app store. Sponsored by Paul Baines Roofing.
Good morning and welcome back, everyone. Disney is celebrating real-life princesses who inspire and empower, and it is our morning trend.
When I think about older girls, myself included, my sisters, my daughter, that are influenced by the idea of the Disney princess, you know that this is an opportunity to inspire girls to do something more.
Disney just unveiled a photographic campaign titled Dream Big, Princess. The campaign was created to encourage kids to set high goals. 19 female photographers around the world have created images of inspiring real girls and women. Now, the people pictured range from an Olympic gold medalist, England's national women's soccer team, the young UN speaker, and an 11-year-old surfing champ. The project is meant to show there are true princesses all over, if you know where to look. The photographs are helping to raise money for Girls Up, a United Nations program that supports teen girls' leadership and empowerment.
Now 7 weather with meteorologist Vivian Gonzalez.
Good morning, South Florida. We are waking up into the upper 80s. A very warm start. 87 in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Pompano Beach, including Key West, with the winds calm inland up to 5 miles per hour along the coast. Now, the radar is showing that it is mostly dry. Now we're starting to see some isolated showers around Princeton, Naranja, and Cutler Bay. And around the lower Florida Keys, we're seeing heavier rain, especially around Cudjoe Key and Summerland Key. And some lightning is to the south around the Florida Straits. Now, for today, we'll have some inland storms firing up with the daytime heat. Tomorrow, we're going to do it all over again. Rain chances between 30 and 40% Friday as well. Now, we go into the weekend, and our rain chances will depend on an area of clouds and rain showers in the Caribbean. Now, here's a look at the tropics. Definitely getting active, stretching all the way into the west coast of Africa. We're going to start things off with Gert, 90-mile-per-hour winds. This one's 330 miles northwest of Bermuda and expected to stay away from any land areas. Now, these two areas of clouds and rain showers are showing signs of organization in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They both have a medium chance to form through the next 5 days. Now, the models are suggesting that the one that's 900 miles east of the Lesser Antilles will move into the Caribbean sometime on Friday. The one behind that one will move more towards the west-northwest in the coming days. Both worth watching, and the one behind those two has a medium chance to form now in the next couple of days as it moves into the eastern tropical Atlantic Ocean. Your marine forecast calls for no advisories. Biscayne Bay is at a light chop, the same for the Florida Keys, seas building 1 to 2 feet inside the reef. Now, the next high tide in the lower Keys will happen tonight, close to 7 o'clock, with your forecast highs ranging in the 90s. Tonight's lows will stay warm. It will feel muggy, partly cloudy skies, And on your extended outlook, we're going to introduce a better rain chance on Saturday. That's your 7 on 7.
And coming up on Today in Florida, we're just days away from a historic event in the sky, and some strange things may happen during the solar eclipse. We'll explain after the break. Time now to check on the day's top stories.
President Trump delivering a strong statement on the rallies in Virginia during an impromptu news conference yesterday. The president saying both sides are to blame for the violence that killed one woman and injured more than a dozen others. It conflicts with comments he made a day earlier condemning white nationalists and racism.
And later today, we expect the White House to name Hope Hicks as the interim communications director. She's currently the White House Director of Strategic Communication. She replaces Anthony Scaramucci. He was fired after 10 days on the job. The news on Hope Hicks first broke early this morning on the Daily Caller.
And breaking news out of the University of Florida. The university's president has denied a request by Richard Spencer to speak on campus. Spencer, a white nationalist, organized the weekend rally in Virginia and was looking to rent space for an event on the UF campus next month.
Now 7 weather with meteorologist Vivian Gonzalez.
All right, South Florida, we're seeing a few spotty downpours already setting up shop in extreme southern Miami-Dade. So between Palmetto Bay and Naranja, between Florida Turnpike and US 1, we have some moderate showers around parts of the lower Florida Keys, too, between Big Pine Key and lower Sugarloaf Key at this hour. And we are expecting some activity to fire up this afternoon. Now, in the tropics, we have Gert or hurricane, 90-mile-per-hour winds. This one should stay away from land. And then we have other areas that we're following for potential growth. We have 2 of them centered in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Medium chance to form in the next couple of days. The models are suggesting they're worth watching. And behind those 2, we have another one that just emerged off the coast of Africa. This one, too, has now been given a 40% chance, medium chance in developing once it moves into the eastern tropical Atlantic. Your extended outlook is calling for afternoon storms, lots of heat continuing through Friday, better rain chances on Saturday. That's your 7 on 7.
Taking you cross country, dozens of students taken to the hospital after bees swarm a high school campus. This happened yesterday afternoon in Los Angeles. The bees which attacked the students were Africanized honeybees. Firefighters using their hoses to scatter the bees. More than 40 students had to be checked out.
And crews scrambling to clear railroad tracks and a river following a massive train derailment. About 30 cars hauling coal spilled off the tracks Sunday near Missoula, Montana. An unknown amount of coal also spilling into a river. Officials say the overall cleanup could take weeks to complete.
A building fire requiring the work of 75 firefighters. This happened yesterday in downtown Tulsa. Flames burning for hours before those crews could get control of the situation. Now, no one was inside, but a large amount of material that was stored there was destroyed when the roof collapsed. The Red Cross brought snacks and drinks to the fire crews on the scene.
Next on Today in Florida, it's hatching season for crocs in South Florida. Did you know?
Oh, yeah. We tag along with these croc catchers after the break. When you think of large reptiles in South Florida, gators come to mind.
But it's actually hatching season for the rare American croc. 7's Brian Enton tagged along with researchers for our special assignment report, Croc Catchers.
The sun is setting, and before long, it's pitch black. Nighttime is not exactly when you want to be walking into a national wildlife refuge named Crocodile Lake.
You see anything in there?
We're with University of Florida researchers near Key Largo, and this is what they're looking for: baby crocodiles.
And they're pretty docile, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he just wants to get away.
The crocs hatched just a few nights earlier.
So this is the size of the egg that the crocodiles come out of.
A night vision camera captures nature in action. The mother digging the baby crocs out of their nest, then she gently carries them in her mouth to the water's edge.
At that point, the hatchlings are pretty much on their own.
And that's where these researchers come in. They use kayaks and climb through mangroves. fighting off mosquitoes to catch the little crocs. Carrying the babies to buckets, measuring them, 13.4, weighing them, and clipping their tails so they can identify the crocs in the future.
It's kind of like clipping your fingernails, but just a little bit deeper than that.
Tracking them is important because until 2007, American crocodiles were endangered, and they're still federally protected. The only place they live and breed in the United States is right here in South Florida, in Crocodile Lake, Turkey Point, and portions of Everglades National Park. Researchers estimate there are only 2,000 crocodiles in Florida compared to 1.3 million alligators.
Of all the hatchlings, only about 10% of them survive. That's because most are eaten by birds, crabs, and fish.
That's one of the reasons why she has such a large clutch of eggs whenever she lays her nest, just so hopefully at least some of them can make it.
Researchers are studying how many survive and trying to change the reptile's bad rap.
I'd say probably the biggest misconception is people think crocodiles, they think of what they've seen on the Discovery Channel.
American crocodiles are a different species than the man-eating crocs found in Africa. There are no known cases of an American croc killing a person in the U.S. The night we were out, researchers caught 49 hatchlings, quickly releasing them back into the 6,500-acre refuge, where years from now, another round of researchers will have something bigger on their hands. Brian Enton, 7 News.
To learn more about the American crocodile and the National Wildlife Refuge, visit WSVN.com. And Today in Florida, coming right back. A South Florida baker is serving up blinged out cakes to an A-list clientele.
7's Lynn Martinez has more on the delicious designs.
From Jennifer Lopez to the Kardashian clan, celebrities are sweet on a South Florida bakery.
Divine Delicacies is a custom cake bakery here located in Miami, and we're known for making our clients' dream come true.
What makes this West Stage spot famous? Their famous clientele.
We recently did a cake for Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod for their birthdays here in Miami. We've made cakes for Pitbull, Dwayne Wade, Gloria Estefan, Floyd Mayweather.
For stars, the bigger, the blingier, the better.
When it comes to a celebrity cake, they want things flashy with a lot of crystals. It has to be really big and over the top.
This 305 sweet shop doesn't only cater to celebs.
Something special about Divine Delicacy is that the locals can shop here, or celebrity clients. That it's just, we make cakes for everyone.
Their specialty? Cakes that defy gravity.
We're known for making our crazy 3D cakes. Like, we can make pretty much any character out of cake, a watch, an Eiffel Tower, anything that the clients want, we can pretty much do it.
From bottles to bags, giant cakes to giraffes. Ooh, cute. Divine Delicacies is up for the challenge.
Our clients just come with ideas and we just make it happen.
The cakes look good, and with flavors like red velvet, yum, guava, and vanilla, these made-to-order masterpieces taste good too.
And we're known for the cake being extra moist and the rum that we put on the cake.
You may not get an invite to a celebrity's birthday bash, but the icing on the cake is, at your next party, you can get the same sweet treats as your favorite famous person.
It's very flattering because they could get any cake in the world and they chose us, so it's make us feel very special.
Lynn Martinez, Today in Florida.
Cakes at Divine Delicacies start at $30, and depending on how big or how much bling, can go into the thousands.
Time now for 7 Sports with Steve Shapiro.
Giancarlo Stanton is seeing the little baseball, like it's a big basketball. I stole that line from our producer. Stanton had homered in 5 straight games coming into last night's game against the Giants, and their ace, Madison Bumgarner, for consecutive games with a home run is 8. Marlins manager Don Mattingly did it. Stanton at 6 goes for 7 this afternoon. That's all I got. I'm Steve Shapiro. Make it a great day, everybody.
Coming up next on Today in Florida.
We continue to follow breaking news out of the University of Florida this morning. The school denying a white nationalist group's request to rent space for an upcoming event for a controversial speaker. We'll have another update after the break.
She tried claiming money from her late husband's bank account, but her name wasn't on it, so the bank said no.
It's aggravating.
Can they block her from collecting? Help Me Howard with Patrick Granger, tonight at 10 on 7 News.
to follow breaking news out of the University of Florida. And this morning we have a statement from the university's president.
And 7's Katrina Bush has it for us. Katrina?
Well, we have learned this morning the University of Florida has denied a request by a group headed by white nationalist Richard Spencer. He is one of the organizers of this past weekend's Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. As you know, one woman died when the rally and a counter-protest turned violent. His group wanted to rent space on the campus for a September event. UF President Kent Fox has said that the decision to turn them down was made after assessing risks to the campus, community, and law enforcement following the weekend violence in Charlottesville. He released a statement that reads, "I find the racist rhetoric of Richard Spencer and white nationalism repugnant and counter to everything the university and this nation stands for. That said, the First Amendment does not require a public institution to risk imminent violence to students and others. The likelihood of violence and potential injury, not the words or ideas, has caused us to take this action. Denying this request for university space is the safest and most responsible decision we can make." And we will continue to follow the latest developments on this story, and we'll have much more coming up on 7 News at noon. For now, that is the latest live from the Satellite Center. Katrina Bush, today in Florida.
Katrina, thank you, and thank you for watching at 9 o'clock. I'm Christine Cruz.
And I'm Diana Diaz. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here at noon.